and the boys like to shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss the one that grab your favorite pose. Me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll brought to you by Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to Shake, Rattle, and Troll today. My wingman is here, JK, preparing for his elk hunt.
I'll miss you next Sunday, Don.
I'm going to be the one walking around with a pot and a pan.
Bang,
Boom,
bang, bang.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And we have three special guests today.
Yes, we have been infiltrated.
We have all the fish guys here.
Yes, we do.
Chief Cantrell, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Would you like to introduce your guests so I get their... I got the
Correct.
names down, but we have assistant fish chiefs.
Assistant.
Three
Easy
of
for you to say.
Two of them.
Three
of them. Well, we have
that's right.
two new assistant fish chiefs. We have Jeffrey Rabinovich from Hatcheries and Andy Clark from Sport Fish Management.
Yeah, good morning.
Two of my favorite guys.
Hatchery.
Sport Fish Management and Hatchery.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. So that's Roosevelt as a hatchery. Roosevelt. I'm going to the hatchery.
I would go with the hatchery, too.
Have you ever had anybody fishing in the hatchery?
Yes. I think it was one of the commissioners did that once by the name of Go Darkly.
Really?
I heard that.
Boy, it's going to be a long day.
Well, that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, see, there it is. Confirmation that it did happen because it doesn't happen anymore.
All righty then, boy. It's going to be a long day for me today. Chief, what's happening up at the department?
Well, we're moving forward with a lot of approaches. Working on Roosevelt, working on a lot of different lakes, getting ready for all of our lake surveys coming up this fall. Getting genetic stuff, fin clips taken from largemouth bass.
Well, Jimmy Dwight and I surveyed Roosevelt for you, so all I can tell you is you need to grow bigger fish and get some more water.
How was the tournament yesterday?
I'll tell you what, this is one of the hard parts about doing a Sunday show after you suck on Roosevelt.
Have to eat crow.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. Bass fishing on anywhere it's luck of the draw. We had high winds at launch, at 3-4 footers, and it blew and blew and blew. And about 10 o'clock, it just laid down and went flat, which is worse than I would have preferred the wind and the waves to
come in later.
Flat. We caught fish. We caught 12 and a half, 12 and 3/4, 12 and a half, 12 and 3/4, and
grand total weight was?
We recovered the boat about an hour before weigh-in. Went and had a hamburger.
The beginning of the tournament trail. It's a long and dusty road.
Yeah. Jimmy and I talked about that. It's bless his heart. I was a little concerned about getting in the bullet with him. That's a 90-mile-an-hour bass boat. Our boats are like sisters. They both weigh 1,210 pounds. They both are pushing 265 horsepower. They'll both run 90 miles an hour, and they're ill-behaved in lumpy water. Badly.
Not good.
And the first time I went in Jimmy's boat, we had a 33-mile run on Havasu. Jimmy didn't know how to drive the boat.
Oh, that's the one. He's the one.
He's the one. Yeah, we made it about a mile, and I yelled at him and trying to get him to trim it up and push on the gas and drive through.
Playing it out.
Misbehaving the boat was doing, and it will. You have to learn how to drive through these things. Yeah, about another mile later, I said, stop. Just stop the boat. What's the matter? I said, I want to tie this marker buoy on my rods, so when you flip this thing and we don't get killed, I can come back and recover my rods. And he was up on top of the waves yesterday, probably pushing 70.
Oh.
3.5, 4 foot slop.
Bounce.
Yeah, giddy up. Yeah. So it wasn't just us. There's, every tournament somebody's on fish. Somebody gets lucky.
Yep.
It wasn't us. So, and you're telling me Schofield caught an 8.5 pounder last week
That's what he told me.
on a black and blue worm. I took black and blue worms, really big ones, because I knew
And they're still here.
We threw topwater.
Crankbaits?
Hmm?
Any cranks?
We threw crankbaits till my arm fell off. Soft jerk baits, flukes, and whatever the one Yum makes. That didn't work. And the only thing I caught fish on was this is going to sound like an oxymoron, but it's a soft, hard body jerk bait. Yeah, never mind. I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah, education begins later.
We did Carolina rigs. We did Texas rigs. Jimmy drop shotted, and I refused to drop shot. So
that doesn't surprise me. So do
he
I.
didn't catch a drop shot fish. And the water is way. We sit here and talk about 38% full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even after last week.
Tano's not even running. Go
No,
figure.
they didn't get good rain up
No,
the high country.
it's not. On that note, we're going to dodge the golden alga blow up bullet.
We're feeling pretty confident now.
Good.
We're pretty surprised we didn't see anything this year.
Temperatures are getting a little bit lower, right? So that negates the possibilities more.
Right, and we're obviously seeing some rains, so hopefully that'll bring that
Water and
conductivity
oxygen.
down.
That's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
So, Andy, you're in a hot seat over here on the sport fish stuff.
All right.
What are your visions for 2015? We've got the Page Spring hatchery acquisition pretty much done, and we've got the commission Rule 40 guidelines and regulations changes. By the way, great presentation.
Thank you.
And anyway, getting back to you, Andy, what do you foresee coming out of your department for restoration next year, 2015?
I tell you, we're going to refocus on the basics, Don. We're going to really look at looking at productivity, looking at the hatchery stuff. Getting that bubbling ponds and the new acquisition done. It's not 100% yet. We still have to do some work on getting that acquisition, but at least the commission gave the green light, and we're moving forward, and it all looks good. But I'm going to really work with the regional programs to refocus on, like I say, the basics. That being the productivity, bait fish, that type of things. What are our lakes capable of doing, and what aren't they capable, and realign that with how we stock them. At least start. That's going to be a little bit longer process, but short term, I want to get the regional programs back focused on access, productivity, and habitat.
And that's where Jeffrey comes in?
That's where Jeffrey comes in.
Nice.
We've got a lot of stuff going on with the hatcheries, some new folks, starting and some new alignments and whatnot. So, yeah, we've got some exciting stuff going on with hatcheries too. Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey, where are you headquartered? Are you in the
Ivory Tower?
I wasn't going to call it that, by the way.
It is what it is.
I was going to call it HQ.
It's the mothership.
Yeah.
I'm based at headquarters.
Okay.
I'm new to the department. I have probably a month. I coming from Texas, Texas Parks and Wildlife.
I don't believe that's a Texas accent that I'm
I
hearing.
was going to say, it sounds more Brooklyn to me.
I'm originally from Peru. Yes, and I'm excited and happy to be here, and I can see the future. We're planning to implement the hatcheries and the vision that Chris have to make Arizona a great place to fishing warm water and cold water fish. I have a couple of numbers there because I knew I have to start looking numbers, histories about the production of the hatcheries here.
I think the only thing we're interested in is how many ex-wives you have or plan to have.
No.
What?
She's hearing now, my
Did you
wife.
see what he's wearing on his left hand, Don? Do you
Bam.
want to get him in trouble already?
I got one.
Yeah, you got a collection of those.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
Well, I don't know. Probably you guys know already in Arizona we stock since the hatchery over 150 million fish for everybody, and over 16 millions of pounds of fish
Wow.
since the hatchery start. That's a huge number.
I can eat that.
I couldn't catch 10 pounds yesterday. I mean, go figure.
And I'm really happy. It's a lot of future here in Arizona to implement production. Probably we're evaluating the way that we can increase production to stock fish in Arizona waters and satisfies more people.
Well, I want to personally welcome you to Arizona and America. It's a great place. And you're coming to the department at a very opportune time. We have the best guys in fisheries that we've ever had. We've got strong leadership. We've got an awesome bunch of commissioners doing a great job. And I think we're, Chris and I've talked about this. I think we're going to be able to kick some bass in 2015, 2016. So.
I agree.
Isn't that what you said? Kick bass?
Sure. I'll take it.
All righty. Okay, hey, we're going to stand down and thank some of our sponsors. If you need a ride, I-17 and West Camelback, Bill Luke Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, they've got the new 1500s in, JK, and they take trade-ins. We'll be right back.
Oh, Susie Q.
All righty, sounds like Vietnam, 1967.
So it does.
Yeah, coming up. Here's what we're going to do. Partially, we're going to talk to Vernon Bagley more on the backstory. I think this week he's going to divert, talk about Benghazi just a little bit. We don't have any fallen soldiers, albeit there was an email going around with 12.
I saw that.
12 of the Dark Horse out of the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. We're trying to confirm that before we go public with that. That may be one of those old emails.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't trust a thing anymore on the internet. If it doesn't Snopes out, then I don't even pass it on.
I don't either. I didn't think about doing that, but Vernon was checking on Dark Horse has a website, and those names were not in their fatality list.
Okay.
So, anyway, and then top of the hour, we're probably going to stay with the fish guys here. We've got James Guggenauer. We'll talk to Clifford Perch. Clifford Perch won again the U.S. Open.
Did he really?
Yeah. I think what's that? 3 times?
Yeah.
They just need to change the name of the lake from Mead to Perch and figure it out. What an awesome job. Anyway, we'll be talking to those guys about 8:30, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on offshore. But Andy, what's your first task as far as restoration on Roosevelt's concerned?
Well, first task is doing more surveys. We've got those Florida strain coming in, but I think here in the fall we've got a research study going on with the trying to figure out the DNA. That research study that U of A is doing. We'll continue to work with them. Just help Curtis in Region 6 do what he needs to do. We're working on some plans on what habitat to put in there and where. Mm-hmm. Trying to figure that out. Getting our scuba team back on board with the department so we can, look at that stuff, evaluate it after it goes in the water. Mm-hmm. Do some neat stuff prior to putting habitat in the lake, and then
that'd be Chris on a rope. Nice.
Whole lot of Christmas trees going down,
buddy.
I might have a hard time getting him out of the water, but
I don't know. I think there's some ballast there.
I float well.
So that's going to be a big one for Roosevelt is figuring out where to put that habitat. The lake fluctuates an awful lot. It seems
those
like
gizzard
lately.
shad need room to lay things out.
Yeah. No, and that's some of that is why we're going back to the basics. I say this productivity, that bottom tier, the zooplankters, and really trying to get a handle on what those gizzard shad are doing to us. I think we all can see, from what the largemouth and the bluegill fishery has gone. But
have you personally seen the swarms of gizzard shad?
I have not. I've seen them at Lake Mead. Coming down from Lake Mead, was up there 11 years managing that fishery, and it's crazy how quickly they take off and populate these lakes.
Is Mead suffering as badly as Roosevelt is?
It doesn't seem to be. Mead has never been. Well, I shouldn't say never.
Well, there's only 15 fish in there anyway. So.
They're all stripers, too.
It started out. It was one of the premier bass fisheries in the 70s.
Used to be.
But water levels hurt that bass fishery up there too. But I think all these lakes will reach an equilibrium. They'll start to, the gizzard shad and Roosevelt are new, and the lake's trying to figure that out. We always put human features on these things, but really the system is adjusting. It's readjusting. But it's not doing what we want it to do. Obviously, we want it. In our case, we want to maintain the quality bass fishery that's always been Roosevelt. So we've got that. So we got to figure out what that change looks like and try to get ahead of it, which I don't think we're going to do.
Well, it's kind of interesting some of the situations that we have back in the east. Gizzard shad cohabitate with the largemouth, and they're not upside down like we are here. And that initially was going back to 2005 with former branch chief Kurt Young. That won't return my phone calls either, by the way. Now that he's working for the Forest Service, Fish and Wildlife. Yeah, go figure. His whole thing was, we're just going to wait and see. And I snapped and went off on my soapbox. And he goes, okay, let me put it this way: we're going to make you king for a day. Okay, how are you, Don, going to go get all the gizzard shad out of Roosevelt? I paused, I thought, I pondered and go, wow, that's a tough one. I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. Okay, we've waited, we've seen, what the effects of the gizzard shad are. Now trying to mitigate this is, wow.
The problem is that you're looking at it as that we've waited. It's only been 9 years. If you go back, like to, on the hunting side, you go back to Yellowstone where there were 20,000 elk in 95, and there's less than 4,000 now. It'll balance out eventually. Maybe there'll be a comeback, but there's going to have to be mange and die out by the wolves.
Decades.
Exactly. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with aquatic systems is they change quicker.
They
typically. Do. They especially a system like Roosevelt that's got two inflows to it, and that's what's always made it a quality fishery, is that type of nutrients and that input that Roosevelt has with the tonneau arm and the salt. So you can have input from one or the other or both in a given year, and you get shots of nutrients in that system. So it's good for a gizzard shad in that respect. There's a lot of nutrients, but it'll adjust. And I think mead is not that way. Mead doesn't have the nutrient loading.
It's just an impoundment.
It's just an impoundment, and it's whatever Powell gives it. Yep. And it's got the virgin, and we've seen some shots of nutrients coming down the virgin arm at given times. 2007, I think it was 2008. We had some flooding on the virgin, and that arm really took off. But so, those systems can change pretty quickly. But we're still just trying to understand what, those full impacts are and what we can do. But hey, we can still put habitat in that lake, and we can still stock it with those, like I say, get back to those basics. Let's monitor that stuff, that golden alga, the nutrients, the prey base, let's make sure we don't lose our threadfin shad and our bluegill base in the wake of all this other, and not let that shake out, because that's what ultimately largemouth and those flatheads are the top end predators. Let's make sure they've got something to eat and somewhere to live.
Is there any research on the smallmouth in Roosevelt?
there isn't any direct research going on. I mean, it's incidental. I think Kurt's, and even when Chris was in Region 6, they really saw a drop off in smallmouth numbers, really coinciding with the gizzard shad. But smallmouth like clear, deep lakes, and they really. You look at the Colorado River system. Havasu is just El Fuego,
and
Mojave. They're
Apache.
catching 3,
Apache's
4, or
native.
5 pound smallmouth in both Mojave and Meade. So, they're not dead. They're not gone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're sure doing well on Apache. In fact, that was the doc talk yesterday was how big the smallies were at Apache and how good they were biting last week. Anyway, we're going to stand down, thank some of our sponsors. I'm Don McDowell with
JK.
And
Chris Cantrell.
Andy Clark.
Jeffrey Rabinovich.
thank you. We'll be right back. All righty, we're back. Jeffrey, what are your first plans with the hatcheries?
We have this year a plan to reevaluate all the hatcheries and where we can improve production, and we are planning for the future too, where we can renovate the hatcheries and get more of fish from those hatcheries, and at the same time the plannings too for maybe in the future warm water facility that we can.
Are you
grow.
going to start with Bubbling Springs first? What is it? Bubbling Springs ponds? What?
Bubbling
ponds.
Ponds, yes. Okay.
Yes, there is several plans at the same time that is going to happen probably. First is going to be the Bubbling Ponds facility. We're going to try to renovate 4 ponds to bring a Florida largemouth bass.
Yeah, boy.
Probably there.
How big are those ponds?
4 quarter-acre ponds.
Okay.
And at the same time, too, we finish the new land acquisition we're going to reevaluate something to the probably native fish there. And we have another hatchery too. It's a Silver Creek. It's a beautiful hatchery. It's 840 acres of land. Excellent fishing, and we probably in the future we're going to look in plans to increase the production maybe at that facility. We have to renovate that facility, and it's something along is going to happen probably in the next 5 years or so. I think the fisheries here in Arizona is going to change, and the production from hatcheries in the long.
How quickly are you going to be able to get the largemouth hatcheries going?
It's a process. First, we have to check the fish they're coming here to Arizona that is free of disease before we put the fish in our hatcheries. Second, we have to grow that fish because the plan is bring fish from fingerlings from Florida. They are already trained to eat pellet feed. We have to grow that fish to a reproduction size. Probably it's going to take a couple of years. And at the same time, it's going to be the time to do the design, the implementation, and the plans to do the hatchery and start a stocking program with bass.
We're like 2 to 3 years out from actually getting the propagation up and running.
Huh.
So we're going to have to get deep running crank pellet baits now?
Yeah, boy.
We have a proposition for you, though, Don. We got this new property looking to put native fish on it, and we were thinking if you donated to the department in order to put that, we can have you Don's Chub Shack and native fish facility. What do you think?
Chub Shack. Oh, that's priceless.
I'm going home, Don.
You should, please.
I'm done.
Don's Chub Shack. Oh. Woohoo! By the way, is there any thought about water dogs? Raising any in Arizona?
Hot button.
Not right now. We don't have plans to.
There were a whole lot of areas I saw on Monday that were prime areas for water dogs. I saw a lot of pools that were empty. I started thinking about that. You could just take, these big 35,000 gallon pools that were empty that were suddenly half full. You could put a lot of water dogs in there.
You could.
And is there anything illegal about that is my question.
Well, yeah, actually, water dogs, doesn't matter whether you're on private or public property, they're department-owned wildlife. They fall under the same wildlife as a mule deer would.
So if I go to the fish store and I buy myself 20 water dogs, and I take them home, and they happen to do what water dogs do, and I got a lot of little water dogs, they're your property, even though I bought them and paid for them?
Well, those ones that have come in from other states are allowed to be sold, but once they're here, it
Wait a
gets
minute,
to
if I
become
pay for it and I buy it, it's
a
mine.
very gray area.
Don?
I've already had this discussion.
We're gonna have gray all over the place. I'll tell you what, because if I buy them from a fish bait store and I put them in my backyard and I happen to have 6,000 water dogs next spring, they're mine. I feed them, I bought them, I pay for them, and if they do what they do, so you're telling me I can't do that? I can't sell them?
That's a very gray area. It's set up in rule where just like you bring a mule deer into the state. You have to have permits associated with it, and you can't sell it.
So what you're saying is we have immigration issues across the state. Whatever it is.
Are you trying to tell? Wait a minute. Wait. I can't bring in a live mule deer, but I can bring in one that I shot from another state, as long as it clears CWD testing.
Correct.
So I'll have testing going with my water dogs to make sure they don't have waterlogged malaria.
And that's the approach that we'd like to get to. We'd like to make sure that water dogs are certified disease free.
Yeah.
So that when they get moved around, because they do get moved around illegally in this state, and when they get moved around, they're not transmitting diseases that can affect other native wildlife. And
okay,
that's
so
a
I
big
invite
problem.
you out to my backyard and say, okay, take out one of my water dogs, test it. As long as they're good, then they're good to go.
We'd like to get to a point where folks have the ability within Arizona to propagate water dogs and make sure they're certified disease-free in order to sell those as live bait for folks to be able to use. Right now, they have to go to sovereign nations like San Carlos, Navajo Nation are two places that folks are going, or New Mexico in order to grab those, bring those in, and sell those.
I'm getting a headache.
It's confusing, and that's why we
I'm
have to
staying
simplify
completely out of this.
Well, actually, though, if you bring them in from the White Mountains, I mean, that's a sovereign nation. I'm bringing it in from another country.
Right, for purposes of selling them, yeah, you can do that.
I can?
You can.
Huh? Come on. Help me. So I can't bring them in from another state, but I can bring them in from another country?
You can bring them in from another state. That's what I said. You can
just
bring them in
can't
from New Mexico.
use Arizona
You just
dogs.
can't use Arizona water dogs.
Yeah,
and right now,
What, they
you
got
can't-
little bumper stickers on their tails?
No, and that is the very difficult part for us to understand. And so what we are requesting is that licensed bait dealers actually have documentation that they bought them from someone that got them from New Mexico or from another nation. So
They snuck them across the border.
Oh, no.
So, one of the topics of discussion on your new regulations is the use of goldfish. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, we have a expanding distribution of goldfish in this state. We had them illegally stocked in, it was about Horseshoe Reservoir, and now we have them throughout the Verde River system. We have them in Tempe Town Lake. They've shown up in the Gila River and in the Salt River. So the thought was, well, let's make the most of them. They're out there. Likely, a lot of folks can't tell the difference between a large goldfish and a small carp. And, flathead fishing in the Verde River has gotten outstanding. A lot of folks are using that. They're likely using carp and goldfish at the same time and just not really understanding the difference. Goldfish don't have barbels. So what we wanted to do,
barbels?
They don't have barbels, so they don't have the whiskers
Huh.
like carp do. And
I thought it was bling bling.
And so we wanted to make sure that folks that are using them are legally able to use them. Obviously, collecting them and using them on site only
Thank you.
is a good to do. To be able to use them if they're there. it likely won't suppress their populations, but we just wanted to make the most, to make it easier for
Well,
our anglers.
there's been discussion on that, and then our buddy J.J. Joyner, being from Alabama, testified on his own behalf, got busted for using goldfish that they bought at the goldfish store to catch fish in Florida, which takes the IGFA to a whole new level, the International Goldfish Association. So,
Did you just make that up?
no, JJ did. Yeah,
International Goldfish Association.
Yeah.
I thought it was a store, IGFA.
Back to you, Andy. Help me, please.
Help.
Okay, so how are you two guys going to be working together?
Well, it's super important from a sport fish side of things to have the support of the hatchery system. We can't. Primarily it's with rainbow trout right now, and a lot of the numbers that Jeffrey referred to earlier. The bulk of those are rainbow trout in our regions, especially 1 and 2. But all of them, rely on rainbow trout in our hatchery system. So
I get the trout. What other fish are we growing, or do I not want to know this?
Well, historically we've raised channel catfish, bluegill, largemouth bass. We've got outside contracts with Bureau of Reclamation.
We're not
for
growing
native
chubs
fish.
or anything like that,
We've
right?
got some chubs, different funding sources to do that, and that was the main driver behind getting that Page acquisition, was to shift that over to that property and then dedicate.
Have to give up something to have something.
Yeah, but that's going to take us a little time to make that happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All righty, we're going to stand down more from Chris, Andy, and Jeffrey and JK on Water Dogs. We'll be back. All righty, we're back for the backstory with Vern Bagley. Vernon, LT, what's happening, man?
Hey, just sitting here having a cup of coffee and then talking with you.
Well, I appreciate you chiming in today. We had a discussion earlier in the week about the email going around about the 3rd or the 5th Marines over in Afghanistan. I just got a note from Doug that was an actual event in 2010. Those guys were all killed in action. So,
yeah, that's what my research tells me as well.
okay. We're not talking too much about VA today. You wanted to have some comments on Benghazi. It looks like there's this last week an awful lot of guys that were there that went to the aid of the folks in the embassy and writing books and making movies and all that stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm terribly frustrated. I was frustrated, obviously, at the time that it occurred, like most Americans, and because we kept hearing different stories from official stories in Washington D.C. to what I consider to be official stories out of Benghazi, and they conflicted. They were always in conflict. One, the video and crazy stuff like that. And, now we're hearing from 3 contractors, 3 CIA contractors who were there to protect that consulate. That was their job. And at the moment that this all began, just to really summarize very quickly what they've said, and they all 3 agree, all 3 different individuals, all 3, they were there. And as soon as they heard what was going on, they did what they were supposed to do. They saddled up, got ready to move out, and asked permission of their CIA supervisor. And he told them, stand down. He told them, stand down. So they stood down. And about 10 minutes went by, and then all of a sudden they went back to him and said, can we go now? And they're hearing everything going on. The compound's only about a mile from the consulate. So, they're hearing everything that's going on. And, again, told no. Long story short on that side is it took over 30 minutes for them to finally say to heck with it, and they went on their own. Now, they claim, they honestly believe in their heart of hearts, had they been released to go at the time that the incident occurred originally, at the very beginning of it, that there was a good possibility that both the ambassador and Sean Smith, the other employee, would still be alive today.
Well, they died from smoke inhalation. Of course they would have been.
Yeah. So, they are, really laying open a wound that has been there within the American psyche for 2 years. And we still have a president, and we still have a commander-in-chief, and we still have secretaries of state, past and present, who will not tell us what's actually going on. And they lie to us, and they lie to us constantly. In preparation for today, Don, I just was reading a recent article about Benghazi and Sean Smith's mother. She writes, and she was on a report somewhere, and she writes, or it's written in this article, when they were at the casket funeral for her son, she says, Obama and Hillary and Panetta and Biden and Susan Rice all came to me at the casket ceremony. I'm quoting her. All came to me at the casket ceremony and gave me a big hug, and every one of them said it was the video. But even then, they knew it wasn't, she said. They lied to me. Now, what kind of commander-in-chief, what kind of Secretary of State, Vice President, what kind of people do we have who will stand there and brazenly lie? And we know that, we've known now for quite some time it wasn't a video. We'll be going way back 2 years, we know it wasn't a video. And to brazenly stand there at the mourning of their son and lie to them. I mean, what kind of person does that?
Vern, there's only one way to fix this, and the midterm elections obviously very important, but the presidential elections, that's the only opportunity we have. We had a discussion about possible, probable impeachment of Obama, but that leaves us with Joe Biden. I mean, think about that.
Yes, you got to know.
I'd rather have the devil that we know instead of that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, what benefit we're doing. The mass public has been so dumbed down with the election of Obama twice, which I'm still not tracking on. The issues that we fight, the men in this room right here, we fight similar stuff, government overreach. We fight lies from the government, and on and on and on. And we've got three soldiers in here from the department that, Chris, just out of curiosity, percentage-wise, how much of your time is political?
Oh,
you have a job to do.
A large portion of it. I would probably say 70% is politics, working with people, working with the public, working with other agencies and partners, and trying to align on approaches and where we want to go, and make sure that we're all on board. And
we had last Tuesday night, it was, I believe, a BASS Conservation Director National Conference call. And I think the big cognition, I told these guys months and months and months ago that the complexion of a CD isn't on the ground anymore. We're on the computer, we're on the phone, we're going to meetings. Once in a while we're out there in the field on a project. I do more ADA projects than I do BASS projects. But that being said, there's just out of my work week, there's probably easy 20-25 hours a week on meetings and phone calls and emails and banging your head on the wall. And Vern, that's kind of the tie-in with what you're fighting with VA. How big of the issue is the union not being able to discharge these folks that need to go work for Circle K?
It's a large issue. It's a large consideration whenever a supervisor determines that one of his or her employees are not really doing the job the way they should, and to try to even to transfer them into a different department and division takes certain union actions, and so each time you delay. Again, it's just like in everything else we're talking about. You're talking about from your side, the VA, Benghazi, the president's speech the other night. Every time we delay in whatever we do, we give that problem or that enemy a chance to have a greater foothold within the system that we are trying to work with. And we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. We as the American general public, we the people, we're just letting people run over us, lie to us with no repercussions. You know, Don, there was one question I had to ask you, and it's a rhetorical question, and it is, you know, you sit there and you lie to Jan, and Jan finds out about that lie. She's not just going to slough it off and say, oh, heck, that's just Don. She's going to come and hold you accountable, and she should. Why isn't that happening with our government and with those of us who vote to put these people in office? Why?
We've got a chance to fix it, Vern. That's the only way we can fix it. You know, and that's kind of the message. We're facing some issues here in Arizona. If you look at the choices that we have for governor, we're going to be voting for the lesser of the evils, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All the way down the line.
All the way.
Being a warmongering conservative Republican, voting a straight ticket, you know, I don't necessarily think that's the answer, but, we've got to maintain our sovereignty as the Republican Party and take control of the Senate, the Congress, and whatever else we can, and ultimately in 2016, the presidency. I think the big thing right now in my mind with the work that I do is seeing the military dismantled to pre-World War II status levels and readiness levels. And then the things going on with the veterans, it's amazing. I am stunned.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll. A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll brought to you by Bill Lute Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
All right, we're back. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We've got my wingman in here, J.K., Chief Cantrell, and is it safe to call you guys assistant chiefs?
They're nodding yes.
Is that
it's safe to
correct?
call them assistant chiefs.
You know, I've been called a lot of things, Don. You can call me assistant chief.
My man right here. Hey, we're visiting with Bill Ruley from Ruley area. Yep, your friend in the business. What's happening, Bill?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
You know, I'm having fun. I'm outranked severely today. Even JK's pulling rank. He's got an L tag. I don't, on and on.
Yeah, well, he's gone.
No, he's here.
He is there. Well, geez, I got a question for him.
Okay.
Mr. Colazar, let me ask you something. If you're Special K, does that make Don like Captain Crunch? And the rest of the Shake, Rattle, and Troll family
Hello,
are
Bill.
just the Fruit Loops.
Hello, Bill. Are you still there?
Fruit
Bill,
Loops.
we're having
Yeah.
technical issues.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, now I've got my own Don's Chub Shop opening up at one of the hatcheries here. Yeah, I'm
going to be Water Dog Willie.
Yeah, no, he passed.
That's
Well, that's
cool.
true. Yeah.
Be respectful.
Okay.
Hey, I want to thank you for playing along today. We're looking at the WON U.S. Open results. Clifford Perch pulled it off for the third time in his career. And the top five, we've got John Murray from Phoenix. John's always a major threat, no matter where he is. Between those two guys, we've got an awful lot of Phoenix residents, Arizona residents that did really well. We'll give those results out a little later. But I wanted to thank you, Bill. You started something for the U.S. Open, a sportsman's or a sportsmanship award, whichever is appropriate, for whoever does a good deed, and that really actually got started for some of the good deeds that you did. I'd like to think I was a pretty good sport, but if I've got to take a guy 35 miles back to the dock because he's dehydrated.
Well, actually, Don, you did inspire me for this because after you gave me the Shake, Rattle, and Troll Sportsman trophy a couple of years back, I decided, you know what, this is a good thing, and now to bring it to the U.S. Open.
Cool.
And so I mean, actually, you inspired it, buddy. I think it's needed. I've been to some tournaments, and when I left, I felt like I was at a cage fighting event, and the other times I've left and thought I was at a preschool, all day.
Well, we're actually making BASS has changed some rules. FLW has some rules that if you go blasting past one of your fellow competitors that is in need of help, you're going to get DQ'd.
Well,
But my point is it's elevated to the point that we have to have a rule.
Well, in a situation like that, you don't know if that guy that's waving you down is having a medical emergency or, boat trouble or what the problem is. Maybe his co-angler fell off the boat and hasn't come up. It could be a lot of things.
That happens.
Yeah. So anyway, but it was a good deal. I didn't make it to the Open this year, and I just want to congratulate Clifford Perch. If you pass that on to him, and all the guys, Murray White, Jamie Shaw, John Murray, all the Arizona guys that fished. I know I'm missing some, but
Johnny Johnson finished 16th. Our buddy Bobby Lanham was 17th. Moving on down the list, we've got a couple of guys from Havasu. Chris Kinley was in 24th place. Donnie Scroggins from Kingman, 26th. Paul Hodges here from Phoenix. Know Paul well. He's really a good sport, good angler. And on John Griffith from Mesa, Tommy Jonovitz from Phoenix, and on and on. We've got a lot of good. Keith Hespy was finished. Andy Manal. I'm a little surprised Andy didn't finish better than he did.
Well, look at Rich Tauber. Past U.S. Open champion. He finished like 120th, I think. And I talked to Rich, and he just couldn't find him. He's got his normal spots that he goes to every year. And,
we've been talking about that in here with the fish guys. We fished Roosevelt yesterday, and you're either on them or you're not. And as far down as the water is at Roosevelt, you think you could find 5 fish and get 5 bites. One would just think. But
even when the water's been up at Lake Mead, I've struggled to get 15 fish, and I don't think I ever have. I think the closest I've gotten in 3 days is 14. And
Andy's going to fix that. So You know, yeah.
Well,
Aren't you, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good deal.
One
Yeah,
thing I
that's-
always tell myself is with fish, there ain't a whole lot of thinking going on.
Well, I'm thinking,
Yeah, well, they seem to outsmart me all the time.
yeah, dumb fish. They got dumb fish in Alabama.
We constantly overthink shit. So.
Well, maybe Jeffrey can help us out. Can you grow alligator gar to put in Lake Mead?
Don't
Nice.
go there.
Yeah. Why? I'm just thinking.
Yeah, that scares me. Alligator.
Well,
gar.
part of the Lee's Ferry plan, my idea, which has been met with a lot of resistance, is to put smallmouth in Lee's Ferry.
Bad idea.
Great idea. Bill, who won your sportsmanship award this year?
Well, I got it second hand from Rich Tauber, and I did talk to Billy Egan for a little bit, but the gentleman's name is Jason Birchfield, and he's out of Las Vegas, and apparently he signed up to fish as a pro, and he got really deathly sick on the first day. He had a stomach virus and just couldn't continue on, and he didn't fish the second day. Well, for some reason or another, every once in a while somebody will leave the tournament because they're not doing well. They won't stick it out the 3 days. It's just, I'm not going to win. I'm leaving, pick up my marbles and going home. Well, apparently this guy didn't, he was too sick to fish, and the third day there was a couple co-anglers left with no boats, and Billy Egan called him and just said, any way that you could possibly do this. And the guy said, I'm really sick. He says, but I'll do it for you, Billy. And he came out and took the non-boater out, even though he didn't have a chance of winning the tournament. He took the non-boater out and spent the day with him, and so the non-boater still had a chance.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah, so my hat's off for him, and that's what it's for. It's for the guys to go out of the way to help another guy. And I think Billy's choice this year was very good, and I'll be looking forward to sponsoring it again next year.
So they wouldn't let you enter your aluminum boat up there this year?
I pulled the aluminum boat.
I'm sure.
Yeah. If I did, if they wouldn't, because they were scared, I could get back into places they can't.
Yeah, you can't even get that thing out of the marina. Nor would you want to. Yeah.
I'd be afraid to. But next year I'll be fishing in a new boat and fishing it. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, and another note, Don, before you get off the air, we're going to be up to Lake Pleasant October 2nd through, I think, the 7th. So we're having our second annual Red Beanie tournament.
Red Beanie tournament.
October.
Okay.
You know what that's about,
I got
Brother
it.
Bob. Yeah, it's been a year. So it doesn't seem like a year, does it?
No, it sure doesn't.
Yeah, so anyway, but if any of your listeners are driving by and they see fishermen with red beanies on, stop and say hi.
Yeah. All right. God love you, Bill. Thanks for honoring Bobby with that. That's pretty cool. All righty. We'll talk to you next week. Bill, really check him out. Your friend in the HVAC business. We're going to stand down, do some business for our guys. Talk a little bit about sport fishing over on the salt side of life on the left coast, and we'll be back. All righty, we're back. Andy, Jeffrey, do you guys saltwater fish?
Yes, and when I used to work in Texas, I did a lot of saltwater fish.
Nice.
It's mainly
How about you?
I have not. No.
Really?
Nope. I haven't broken that cherry.
Ooh.
So yeah, need to do that.
We need to do a fish chief tournament
Yes, we do.
on the choke and puke out of H&M Landing.
You want me up in the lead too? I know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've been dodging that bullet. They actually, when that hurricane was blowing through there, they had some 15-foot water.
I would not have gone out on 15 foot.
A couple of them ventured down there, and albeit it was a tough trip, their numbers were pretty good. The numbers from yesterday on the 3/4 day boat, 116 anglers on 4 boats, 138 yellowtails, 6 Dorados, scary number is 141 Bonita. They're right in there with the skipjack
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
A bunch of calicos and even the half-day boats. They don't go very far out around the point, and they're out there dragging worms and stuff on the bottom. They had 6 yellowtail, so I mean the yellowtail are in really close. Day and a half boats. 1 boat was out. Don't get that. 14 guys. 67 yellowfin, 32 yellowtail, 70 skipjack.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Season going bye-bye.
It gets worse. The day boats, 5 day boats were out, 102 anglers, 281 yellowfin tunas, 19 yellowtail. That number kind of shocks me. There's, don't know what's that. 10 Dorado, 173 skip. That's a bad thing. Because what these things come in waves. We get the yellowtail in first. The albacore supposed to come in. They came in for about a week and then vanished.
Bye-bye.
I don't know where they went because they didn't. Normally their next stop's up around Oregon, and they didn't pop up there. So we're not sure what's going on with those guys. Then the bluefin come in, the yellowfin come in, Dorados are there, and then wiping up the rear is the skipjack. And anytime you start seeing those numbers, you need to get your fishing in, get it over with, and because it's hopefully maybe this will hold into October. I hope so we can get at least one more trip in. Got to get you out there. Love to have you guys on the boat.
That'd be great. It would be fun to watch.
Yeah. Especially Special K, pinned to the rail, squealing like a 12-year-old schoolgirl. I can't get it in.
I would do anything under the sun, including die, before I'd utter those words in your presence.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you got to stand there and slug it out with those things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, when you get into the boat the first time, you think, whew, man, finally, there's 3 more runs coming. Because they see the boat, they don't want to go for a boat ride.
No.
Period. So it's all good. We'll see what we can do. I know we could get a scholarship trip on the Malahini. Can you guys do a day trip?
Don't know why not.
Yeah. Sure.
You want to do it?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I've got time. I didn't draw any tags this year, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, welcome to my world. I can't say
Wait a minute. Whoa. Back off. You got 4 deer
I need
tags.
to thank these guys publicly. I did. I got a turkey tag and a deer tag.
I couldn't even draw a Wyoming tag.
Ooh, your reputation is preceding you, isn't it?
They must have seen his app. Oh, yeah, Game and Fish. Arizona. Not.
Well, Kim's up there in Montana getting his place winterized, and rumor has it he's on the hunt for wolves.
Everybody should be on the hunt for wolves.
They are. I mean, that's some serious juju up there if you're a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want, you guys get with me, pick a date, and soon. And we leave here middle of the night, get on the Malahini, be back at the dock at 5 o'clock.
Be home by midnight.
Be having dinner by 6.
Mm-hmm.
Be home by 1.
Yeah. Let's take a look. We'll figure it out.
Do it.
I'll be busy hunting, guys. You have fun.
I'm sure.
I've got a couple of tags too, so it'll be skinny. But
what tags do you have?
I've got an early whitetail tag in 6B,
Nice.
and then I've got an antlerless elk tag in 10.
Have you got your herd spotted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to pay the
My herd's
access
out
fee?
there looking for me.
You going to pay the access fee to go on the big Bakias?
No comment.
No. $60 for an antlerless fee. I don't think that's going to happen. However, the Hearst Mountain area is well known for having elk. So is Double Dog Road.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. All
In case you want to wander across the railroad tracks in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on the Babbitts for sure.
Okay.
In there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, the tag issue's certainly important. So yeah, we can work something out.
Yeah. No, I'm usually good for
Captain
48
Bill,
hour run.
he's got a day job. They only let him run the boat on Saturday and Sunday, so we'll have to give him a heads up so he can be on the boat.
Okay.
Maybe you'll let us drive the boat, Chief.
Oh boy.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. I guess the big thing on the hatcheries, the Page Springs acquisition. How long is all that going to take before that comes to fruition and is online?
It's likely going to be earliest be around February, latest be around June. It really just depends on when the governor signs the approval. We sent that
Which
down.
governor?
Well, Governor Brewer, and then whoever takes the next office. But yeah, so we're gonna try to get that done at the same time the Planet Ranch issue gets sent down there. So we know that's on Brewer's radar. So we're looking to get that signed, and then at the same time, and then we're going to look forward to start writing a property portfolio management plan for the facility, and look for partners in order to help develop it as a
we're
working
talking
hatchery.
as in federal partners?
Yes, we are. Yeah, a lot of these partners, federal and semi-governmental, SRP too. They have to offset mitigation. And
you want to do this in public, or you just want to go roll around out in the parking lot over SRP?
You just said two words that just drive both of us crazy. Number one is SRP, and number two is federal government.
Well, the
partners.
The intent is to offset mitigation for them. They're going to pay to do that on our properties, and then we're going to be able to open up.
Wait a minute. Can you explain that
hatchery.
Offset mitigation? That just sounds so cool, but can you tell us what it means?
So, both of them are water delivery companies.
Yes.
And
wait a minute, the feds don't deliver water?
Well, Bureau of Reclamation does.
Okay.
So what they have as part of their biological opinion, they have a set amount of mitigation they have to do. Propagation of razorbacks, suckers, bony-tailed chub, a number of other species for reclamation. SRP has most of it's for the operations of Horseshoe and Bartlett Lake. They have biological opinions and with set mitigation that they have to do in propagating certain aquatic species. So they're both interested in developing a hatchery on our properties and then paying us a substantial amount of money to operate and stock those native endemics to offset their mitigation for putting water, in your showers and that kind of thing. So,
and they're going to charge us for it. By the way, John.
Wait a minute. Just so I'm tracking on this, I need to track a little bit better. Their mitigation, what are they mitigating against? Certainly, I understand that there are native fish in this state. Are you saying that because they're water delivery systems, they're culpable for any damage to those native fish?
That is correct.
And so consequently, because somebody like, say, the Center for Biological Diversity or the Sierra Club has a profound interest in maintaining due diligence on this razorback chub, that this is their way of saying mea culpa if something happens to little Spiky?
Well, I think it wasn't strictly out of litigation like for CBD, but it was more through biological opinions written through the Endangered Species Act from our Endangered Species Office here in Arizona. They wrote those biological opinions and identified the mitigation in order to offset the impact of moving water through. So their plans or part of that mitigation is to propagate and stock these native species because they don't do well out there with the altered landscape that dams and clear water and cold water delivery has done.
So basically, as a good example, then perhaps the narrow-nosed garter snake and the Mexican garter snake, both of which thrive on running water, is that something they would take into consideration as well?
Because that was just listed August 7th, my guess is that they are going to reopen consultations for like the Central Arizona Project and other water delivery biological opinions, and probably include those and reconsult on mitigation and identify certain mitigation for those species.
He speaks almost like a bureaucrat. Yeah. I mean, I'm following it, but unfortunately, I think, Chris, you've done so well. I liked you a year ago, but now I'm beginning to worry about here. That sounds like bureau speak.
Just keep remembering my eyes are on the prize, and that's
More fish,
That's
bigger
sport
fish.
fish.
You know, we have to trust him even though he's speaking another language.
I think these guys, they'll keep him honest.
Andy,
They will.
Jeffrey, I'm counting on you two.
All right, hey, when we come back, Clifford Perch, three-time U.S. Open winner with James Guggenauer on the fishing report that I'm really looking forward to hearing on Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
My buddies and me were once wild and free. Now we ain't doing so great. We used to go down and tear up
This
the
is for you,
town,
Bass
and now
Daddy.
we're all
No.
Yes, it is. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, buddy. All right, yeah, thanks for that. All right, hey,
You
James,
catch it
Clifford,
up.
are you guys with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Happy birthday, Don.
Hey, well, thank you.
He's catching up to us.
Yeah, I'm never going to be as old as James. Have we got Clifford?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Clifford, thanks for playing in today. We want to congratulate you on your third U.S. Open win. What a feat.
Oh, thanks, man. It was pretty exciting. You know, it was an unusual tournament, you know, and at the same time it just kind of was typical of throwing all that the desert could throw at you, you know, and it really worked out pretty good. I'm real fortunate and had a real big day one that just kind of carried me through the week.
By the way, everybody was talking about you beforehand. We were talking on the radio, and they said, "Yeah, Clifford's not out fishing early. He's you know, we see his rig there.
Still in the parking lot.
Yeah, he's still in the parking lot sleeping. Gets out, has a cup of coffee, waves to us as we're coming back in." You knew something.
Well, they probably caught me coming in and dropping off my wife and going back out, quite honestly. But no, I mean, I wasn't getting out there at the crack of dawn. I would go out about sun up and.
Can you excuse me? Would you use another term, please?
Say that again.
Crack of dawn, really? Come on. We'll call it sun up, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, Clifford.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I was getting pretty full day of practice in. I mean, I'm not the first guy out of the parking lot in the morning usually, but it's usually because I put in a longer day than most, and you know, when you get back at dark and you get a few less hours of sleep in the summertime, it's pretty hard to get up at 3:30 and go you know, have enough fire to do it again every day. So, you know, when the tournament week starts, you're having to do 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 to get out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not known to be the first guy out there in the morning usually.
Well, you're packing up, headed to your next elite stop in Michigan, if I'm correct. Is that what's going on now?
Yeah, I'm about an hour away from there now.
Holy cow! Well,
Yep.
if you can divulge, you know, what was your pattern? What'd you do? How'd you catch and find all these fish?
Well, I did pretty typical Lake Mead stuff, but the first day I went to a pretty popular area and tried to just catch a nice bag, knowing that it would get hit hard, and thought I could roll in there and catch 10 or 10 plus pounds, and, you know, hopefully 12 or something. But didn't really pan out. I caught a limit on a Texas rig pretty easy, and caught a lot of fish, but it was really probably more like 7.5, 8 pounds, and you know, kind of rolled around with that until about maybe 1 o'clock, and you know, ran to some new areas, just knowing that I really didn't have the start that I'd hoped for, and made a pass through a spot and cold 3 times. We cold and made a few upgrades, you know, but it wasn't much. It was just a little more solid, and I just thought, man, I'd seen a few nice ones swimming around there in practice, and I thought surely we could catch one of those, and I turned around and made one more pass through it and caught a real good one, you know, on a drop shot. And glad, you know, obviously glad I turned around, because it was a productive turn. We caught one, you know, I caught one maybe close to 4 pounds, and that's a huge one on Lake Mead. And you know, so that got me a real solid bag, and I had time for just a couple more stops, and you know, went to the next little stretch, and it was really a real, you know, not not a real big spot, just kind of a little cut on the lake that was getting some wind, and caught another nice one on a crankbait, and maybe two more nice ones on a crankbait, and upgraded again, and they were good solid fish, and then hit another little cut, and kind of was running low on time, and that's when I caught the 6.5 pounder, and that came on a crankbait, and so it was a number of things that went into that first day, but it just it wound up being some crazy weight. And anytime you can throw a 6 pounder in on something like that, it's just it's pretty much a miracle. So
that's huge.
It
Absolutely.
was that was a big one. So it really carried that bag to be as big as it was.
Well, every time we talk, you keep bringing up miracles. You're pretty blessed, Clifford.
Oh yeah. No, I was real fortunate because I could have weighed in with 7.5 real easy and just kind of been a ho-hum tournament.
Yeah. Did you get to talk to Murray at all?
No, not much. I saw him in passing, weighing in a couple times, and I just didn't get to visit with John. I think we must have been in different flights, and when you're on the different end of the day, a lot of times you just don't see somebody throughout an event. But just saw him pass by a few times, and I know he had a big day on the last day, and came back and got a real nice check.
Yeah, he sure did. How about your AAA guys? Do you have good draws?
Yeah, we had fun, and we had a good time. It's kind of a fun event because it's a shared weight, and so if they catch something, it helps out, and so you're trying to help them, doing the right things and things that complement what you're doing, and gearing them up, and we reorganized some line and some knots and some, so it's a good learning experience for a lot of those guys because obviously what they do helps me, and so you kind of get them set up with the way they need to be doing things where you're going, and so it's a fun experience, and they were all fun guys, and had a good time. Day 2 and day 3 were a little less eventful, but I stayed close because of the weather. On day 2, knowing that I had an area I was saving for a day 3, the weather looked a little bit better to be able to travel, and if something didn't go well, to be able to travel again. And you know what I mean. You don't want to be all in if you can't be mobile if something doesn't go right, and that's kind of what happened. Day 2, I caught just kind of an average bag out of the main basin, and mainly drop shotting, a couple topwater fish, a couple crankbait fish, but I think maybe 4 of them that I weighed in were drop shotting, and 1 came on a crankbait. But day 3, I went ahead and traveled quite a ways because we had that big flood, and when I got there, it was pretty well blown out and trashed, and chocolate water and heavy debris mats kind of covering where I wanted to fish, and so it took me quite a while to find the fish. But I finally readjusted, and maybe about 11 o'clock in the morning got my first one, and from then on, I had an early weigh-in, so I didn't have a lot of time, but between 11 and 1 or so, I really caught a bunch, all just flipping my jig, and every one of them came on a jig, and shallow cover, and probably caught 25 or 30 keepers. So there was a lot of culling and a lot of fun, a lot of fish catching, but didn't really catch any real big ones. I expected to throw some big ones in with that, and so didn't know if I had it won, but it was a lot of fish catching, but I was a little concerned that there wasn't a little more weight to the bag. But turns out it was all right.
Well, you did a miraculous job up there, as you indicated, and the Lake Mead has really treated you well over the years. So, well,
yeah,
we want to
place.
thank you, for being Payson's pride, and our Arizona guy that we look up to and admire. You're doing a hell of a job, and good luck in Michigan. That can be a stinker right there.
Thanks. Well, I hope it's not, but it can be certainly be rough weather on the Great Lakes, and fishing becomes a smaller part of the overall strategy and process than most events.
Yeah, we call it staying alive. Yeah, it's a big deal on that big water.
Make sure your equipment stays together. Make sure you get in and get out and weigh in, and somewhere along the way you got to catch some big ones. And so,
yes, sir.
It becomes a complicated event, but I like those northern events, and in general they've been all right for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
All righty. Well, give us a call when you get back to town. We'd love to have you in the studio.
Okay, thank you guys. Enjoyed it.
All right, thank you, Clifford.
You bet.
All right, James, back to you. What do you got for us?
You know, it's just
That's a hard act to follow right there.
really you could listen to Clifford talk about how he fishes all day long, and you know the other thing that he won't mention on air, but he has finished first or second at Lake Mead 6 of the past 8 years. And when you think about the quality of guys that are fishing those tournaments, I mean, that's just a remarkable feat.
Well, he's actually, in my mind, probably one of the most versatile anglers in America, in the world, as far as that goes. You look at the lineup on the Elite 50.
Yep.
Wow, tough bunch of guys.
Pretty remarkable. All right, hey, let's talk about Roosevelt.
Now I don't want to talk about Roosevelt. I fished up there yesterday. It sucked. That's my report. Thanks for calling in.
Well, and I even sent you the report early, Don.
I know. I printed it out, and I'm telling my part. Well, James says do this. He goes, we already did that.
Well, let me tell you, 3 casts is not the answer.
Oh.
So let me tell you what the locals are saying up there. Fishing was called good this past week. The lake is pretty stable, stayed at 38% full again this week. The water temperature is continuing to drop, low 80s in the morning to the mid 80s in the afternoon. Crankbaits in the mornings were working good. Some top water baits are working good. Crankbaits running a little bit deeper in 15 to 25 feet of water.
Nope, tried that too.
Jim,
you got to see this.
Shaking his head.
He's shaking his head. No, it didn't work. Did that? No. Everything you're saying, he's shaking his head. No,
all right,
it's hilarious.
Rub it in.
Well, now, did you go to a drop shot, Don? Did you try?
Absolutely not. No, Jimmy was doing that in the front of the boat.
All right. Well, that should have been working pretty good. I'm hearing that now.
Nope.
This could have been important. Did you notice in the bottom of the report where it said an experienced team of anglers reported that a Cinco worm rigged Texas style was working well at dusk?
He was long gone by dusk.
Didn't do that. We didn't stay that long. But the Cinco on a wacky didn't work either.
Well, I think you'll have to give me a call next time. I'll hook you up with
I tell you what, if I had reception we were up on the salt end, what's left of it. Yeah, I was trying to get you going. Okay, now what?
That's fun.
So far I'm looking at your report. I'm going to rule out the Zoom fluke. Did that. Topwater did that. Rico had those. Buzzbaits, black and white, neither one worked. Drop shot, Texas rig, Carolina rig, and Cincos.
He's very grumpy, James. This is not a pleasant place to be today.
And I was using the Ron Schofield 10-inch black and blue worm. Had a straight tail and a curly tail. Didn't work either. So.
I don't know what to tell you, brother.
He wasn't on the lake. He was doing all that in the desert.
Yeah, he sits there and just makes this up on the computer.
I know he does.
Yeah, I know. Okay, what about crappie fishing?
Hey, crappie fishing was called fair this past week. The reports are still not changing. I was talking to Kurt Rambo again this week, and he loves it when there are no storms and no wind and no nothing on the water. The flatter the water, the better for Kurt on crappie fishing. When the water's flat like that, he'll be fishing in 25 to 30 feet of water. He'll be vertically fishing a jig, and he is right in the middle of a brush. And he's got probably 5 different brush piles that he goes to that are between the dam on the roadside, from the dam headed up to Vineyard Cove, and he will just go from brush pile to brush pile, spend about 15 to 20 minutes on each pile, catch 2 to 3 crappie, and then move to the next one.
We did that too. That didn't work.
He did everything. None of it worked.
And I want to tell you, the frogs didn't work either. So.
Well, next time you come up, you give me a call. I'll have some of these boats come out and meet you on the water.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that. We've got a few minutes left. Do you have any questions for Chris, Andy, or Jeffrey?
Not a question, but I sent Chief Cantrell a text after the last commissioner meeting. He did an excellent presentation on the bubbling ponds expansion and the plan for the bubbling ponds. I was telling them that during my work career, I sat through a lot of presentations, so you get a feel for when the person is experienced and understands the content. And once again, Chris, you did an excellent job at that presentation. I think the commissioner's comments reflected that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was that was a tough one.
Is it my imagination, James, or help me out with this? Did he look like a Baptist deacon in that blazer?
Fire and brimstone and
oh, he was relaxed and smooth.
Well, he handled it well.
He gets more comfortable in each meeting, doesn't he?
Didn't take any shots at the commissioners.
No,
this time
he didn't pull up in a limo.
Yeah, okay.
Soon.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the hang of it, Chief. Well, that's what I was telling Jeffrey. I think he's here with some pretty darn good guys in the fisheries department and fisheries branch across the board. So, the things that are coming out of fisheries branch right now, wow, just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Even from a public's viewpoint, I'm not nearly as close to it as what you guys are. That I can tell that there's been a change in direction, and it certainly feels like there's a vision out there, and we're moving towards that. And so that's what's appreciated, I think, from the public.
Well, you want to stay with us through the top of the hour? I'm going to turn this over to these guys. No, we're just going to blow right through it. Thank you. Start with you, Chief. The vision.
Vision.
2015.
Where
we're going to be at the end of the year.
Where are we going to be at? Okay, so, we're going to be a lot further along on Roosevelt. We're going to have a lot more information. We're going to be a lot more prepared and ready to put habitat in. We're going to have a vision and a direction for our hatcheries on where we go and how to get down the road of expanding our trout production as well as warm water fish production. This year we're having a huge, we're going to have a new campaign that comes out where we're looking at trophy fisheries and blue ribbon campaigns for trout fisheries. And that's going to be, I think, a huge opportunity to showcase Arizona and the waters that we do have.
Is that something Andy's going to be working on?
Absolutely.
When are you going to start that, Andy?
Well, we've already started going down that road. We're just going to have to continue to fine-tune and focus. Like I say, get back into those basics and get those regional
I tried
programs.
that yesterday. That didn't work either.
Nothing worked for Don yesterday.
Well, now, what you're not telling people is you caught fish. They just weren't as big as you wanted. Isn't that right?
But we still, if you have to put them back because they're too short, they don't count.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah, we'll I'm going to be really trying to come up with a enhanced vision on the community fish program as well, and as well as working with the hatchery program and fine tuning, what we have and where we want to go. Like the chief says, we're going to look at highlighting our unique fisheries, our trophy type, really special things we got in Arizona, the flatheads, the Florida bass, the big trout.
Is this this trophy situation, are you going to take possession of the fish and do DNA, extract eggs, and all that kind of stuff like Texas does?
We're doing DNA right now. Yeah. I mean, this October we'll be collecting all of our samples from Bartlett. So I think they just already got saguaro, but they're also going to get Canyon, believe Apache, and they already got Roosevelt. So we're going to send those in, as well as Pleasant, and be able to compare to what we already got back from the western side of those waters. We're also, as part of this campaign, we've got this Bassmasters Elite Series tournament coming to Havasu. That is a showcased fishery in the state, and we're going to have a huge presence out there.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And Arizona Game and Fish Fisheries is going to be out there talking with our anglers about these campaigns, these trophy blue ribbon type campaigns that we're going to get started in now, and really want to, like I said, showcase Arizona for what we got, and focus management objectives on those waters to meet those. If we think Saguaro Lake is the next, or is already a trophy water, and we want to maintain it, then that's where we identify that in those management plans, and we start aggressively going after trying to make sure that we continue to have our anglers pulling 10-pound fish out of there.
Jeffrey, what are you going to be doing different next year that's being done today?
First is analyze where the hatcheries they are right now, and the future, the vision that we have, and the planning for the future. I want to point something here. All the work the hatcheries do, and we have excellent people working for us right now, but we need the support, too, of the public and the anglers to expand, to realize and make alive this vision that we have. And one is like buying fishing license, more PR, more donations, more volunteers. We need sometimes volunteer people to go to our hatcheries, and we want to build at hatcheries in the future for a destination, too. Like people can go and learn about what is the process and all the good things that we do for Arizona.
Are you looking for manual labor to do some of these things on the hatcheries, or?
Absolutely. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for
Sounds like a conservation bonus point issue for me, doesn't it, for you, Doug?
Oh, here we go again.
I ain't saying.
He
I'm
was
just saying.
waiting.
If it's a softball, you're going to hit it.
He's like a snake in the grass. It's going to strike at some point. You just don't know when.
A garter snake?
Yeah.
No.
Narrow nose.
Narrow nose, that's it.
I think if we can organize among the different anglers group and support hatcheries, we can achieve great things here in the state.
Well, be sure you shoot me a list. The BASS here is looking for conservation works projects.
Don't they have to do that as part of their
community
membership?
service?
Yeah.
Voluntary community service, not court-appointed community service, is what we're looking for.
In contrast to your court-appointed community service, yeah.
All right, I can send you the list of all the hatcheries that we have, and everybody there is going to appreciate the support from the public.
That's good. That's good. Well, send us the list. There's a lot of guys that need a lot of points.
Yeah.
All the state team, they have to accumulate points and blah, blah. James, anything you want to add to this?
No, just to appreciate, Andy, I listened earlier about you talking about the gizzard shad issues and the habitat. I know that's an uphill struggle, especially when you're dealing with the Forest Service to try to get anything accomplished. But we certainly appreciate the efforts and look forward to getting this issue at Roosevelt resolved.
Yeah, me too. We'll put our every effort we can into that, because we really want to understand what that's doing up there, and figure out a strategy to, get that equilibrium like we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Any final words, Chief?
I'll leave you with this. In 2013, $1.47 billion were contributed to the economic impact to Arizona from fishing. We just completed a 12-year study, not a 12. It's the first time in 12 years we completed an economic study and an angler use study, and that's 3 times that's like having 3 Super Bowls in Arizona in 1 year.
Wow. Do you remember what the hunting number was?
Oh, we just did this. We just focused this. This came out of fisheries.
Fish guy. Come on, please.
Well, hunting, we haven't run that study yet.
It will be.
He hunts.
I know he does.
He got a nice
on that
bull
rare
last
occasion.
year.
Yeah.
Last year or year before?
Year
last?
before
Year
last.
before last.
Year before. Boy, time flies.
Well, that was mine last year. Yours was year before. Don,
all right,
you ever
James,
get
we're going
one?
to get this thing wrapped up. I think we got NASCAR today. Not sure.
Come on. Come on, say it.
Earnhardt.
Gordon.
Jeff Gordon sucks. Okay, I said it. Yeah, I got. Every time I do that, I got to take on Big Mike. And,
Yeah, you do.
Older I get, the tougher that is. All right, guys. Hope you learned something from the fish guys. Welcome to our state, and if there's anything we can do for you, Andy, Chief, we're here to support you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And JK, we'll see you week after next.
Week after next. I'll be up in the mountains.
All righty, that's it, guys. Take the kids fishing, hug your bass boat. We're out of here.